and welcome to episode 88 of the Graceful Tangle podcast. I'm Mimi Kate and I am so excited to be back with you guys again this week, sharing all of my knit and crochet projects. It's always my favorite time of the week to be able to talk about these things with you guys, and I am very excited to do it once again. Be sure to check out the description box below for all of the links related to this episode. You can find the link to the show notes over on my blog. You can find patterns that I'm going to be talking about, my pattern shops, social media platforms, and all of the Make-A-Long info for our current Make-A-Long, the Dishcloth Challenge. I do not have a dishcloth to show this week, which I will explain more about that in a few minutes, but you can find all of that information down below in the description box. If you would like to join us, you can join anytime this year, so there's no pressure at all, but we would absolutely love to have you. The Facebook group has been so much fun, so check that out if you are interested. Today is Thursday, January 13th. I believe that is correct. So it has been less than a week since I last filmed. I filmed episode 87 on Sunday, the 9th, and today's the 13th. So I have a few things to show, but it is probably going to be a little bit shorter of an episode because I don't have a ton of things, because it has been like 4 days and 4 very busy days, in fact. But we are actually leaving on a trip tomorrow for the weekend, and so I wanted to go ahead and film this now because I don't really think I'm going to get a chance before it's time for it to be published on YouTube for you guys. So I'm really excited though. I have quite a few things to share. I have a new design to talk about, or a new release to talk about, a new design that I'm working on, and yeah, some exciting projects. So let's go ahead and hop into it this week with some FOs. Okay, so my first FO is kind of crazy. So I ordered, I'm actually going to show you the project first because I think it's going to make a little more sense that way. So this pillow, first of all, it is amazing. I really love this thing. It has a crazy story behind it that I'm about to share, but I think it turned out super cute, all things considered. So I was told about this company from a friend of mine. Hello, if you are watching, Miss Dana. But there was a website called AliExpress, and there's like tons of things on there. I do not understand the way that it works, to be honest. But she shared it with me, and I decided to order something to try it out, and I got this yarn. So it's a really fluffy, I mean, you're not really going to be able to see it because it's already made into something, but it's like a really fluffy yarn, really soft, and it was extremely affordable. So I decided to try it. I actually had a project in mind, like all picked out when I ordered it, and then when I tried to gauge swatch, it turned out that the yarn was a little bit thinner than I was anticipating, and so that project wasn't going to work. This website is not just for yarn, like there's so many things on there, and so you don't exactly know what you're getting until you receive it. I mean, they have some information, of course, but you know, for yarn, it's important to know like the yardage and the weight and all of that, and they just don't have every bit of that information because it's not, you know, their target audience per se. It's not like Knit Picks or Lion Brand or something like that. So anyway, I ordered this yarn. I had a project in mind. I realized that project wasn't going to work, and so I decided to make a second sample of my efficient pullover that's releasing soon. Again, I'll be talking about that in a minute, but I altered the numbers a little bit because of the gauge that I was reaching. So anyway, I started this sweater. It was going great. I tried to make sure I wasn't going to run out of yarn, and then I totally and completely ran out of yarn. And I can get more easily, and I do not have, like I tried, but I do not have anything in my stash that was even remotely similar or similar enough to look good like color blocked, because what had happened was I made the entire body, and then I ran out of yarn like at this part of the sleeve. And when it's a sweater like this, you don't want to leave it at 3/4 because that looks silly, or short sleeve. So anyway, I just had to say goodbye to that project, but instead of ripping the whole thing out, or even worse, wasting the yarn, because the project was very hard to rip out, because apparently this yarn does not like to be ripped out. But anyway, I decided to turn it into a pillow. So literally I just took the body that I had made of that sweater, and I put this pillow insert in that I already had, and then I just single crocheted around the entire thing. And now it is a super comfy pillow. So this is staying on my bed. It's really cozy. Our cat Reba actually got on my bed last night and was like kneading on it. So it's kind of misshapen now because she was like really, really getting cozy. Anyway, she likes it too, which is always a plus. So anyway, long story behind this pillow, but I think it turned out pretty cute, all things considered. And yeah, I really like it. The only thing I think I will go back and change, so I used a gray, just like bulky yarn to seam the two panels together, and I did a single crochet border, which looked great. And then I thought that it needed a little bit more finishing, so I did slip stitch all the way around, and I think I'm going to rip out that row because it's a little bit too tight, like the corners are kind of curling in. And honestly, I don't mind that look. It's just that you can see the border up here and then not on the corners, and that kind of bothers me. So I think I'm just going to rip out that slip stitch round and leave it at the single crochet round, and I think it'll be fine. So anyway, I really like how this turned out. It is totally just like a random project, but it's a good example of, you know, even failed projects aren't like direct fails, right? Anyway, so there's that FO. Now, my second finished object is my brand new design, and I am really excited to be sharing this with you guys. So this sock pattern is my newest release. These released last Friday, so at the time I'm recording this, they're releasing tomorrow. But like I said, you aren't going to see this episode until almost a week after I actually filmed it, which is just crazy, but that's just the schedule right now. So anyway, here is the new design. I hope y'all love it as much as I do. I have been planning this for so long. I've been working on this stitch pattern for a while. It is one that, you know, I'm not claiming as my own because who knows if it's been done before, but I have not seen it anywhere, and so that is pretty exciting. But it's really simple, so don't be intimidated by it, of course. Here's kind of a better view of it with just one sock. Now these are designed to feature self-strapping yarn and contrast heels, toes, and cuffs, but of course you can do any yarn combo that you'd like. I think this would be really beautiful in just like a tonal or maybe even a speckle yarn. Like this stitch pattern would look great in any yarn. It doesn't just have to be self-strapping, of course. It's just what the sample was made in. So the yarn that I used is Knit Picks Felici in the colorway Desert Rose, which is the striped yarn. And then the contrast color is Knit Picks Stroll, which is the same base as Felici, in the colorway Ash. So I also wanted to mention that for this particular pair of socks, I chose a contrast color, you know, again, the color that I'm going to be using for my toes and heels and cuffs, that is the same base as my main color. But another thing that you could do, if you have like a skein of yarn in your stash that is like a 100% merino, it doesn't have any nylon content, but you would like to use it for socks, a really easy way to make those socks last longer is to take a yarn that has nylon content and use it for those like heavy duty areas, which would be the toe and the heel. So I like using that, you know, again, if I have a yarn that doesn't have that nylon content, which just makes the socks more durable. A really easy fix is just to do contrasting heels and toes. So I hope that helps you in whatever way you see fit, but I love this pattern. Like I said, I hope you do too. These are called the banded socks, by the way. And yeah, again, I absolutely love how they turned out, and I'm really excited to see all of y'all's socks, all your combinations, everything that you make with this pattern. I'm very excited to see it. So I have some more sock patterns coming out soon. I've been so inspired lately to create more sock designs, so I am really pumped about that. But yeah, 2022 is going to be a big design year for sure. So I hope you love this pattern. Alrighty, I think that is it for FOs this week. I actually do not have any works in progress that aren't designs this week, which is crazy. I was hoping on working on my Advent blanket. I was hoping that I would work on my Advent blanket. That sentence didn't make any sense, did it? But I just did not have time for it. It's been, like I said, less than a week since I last filmed, and this has been my first week back to school and work, and it has just been a little bit crazy. So yeah, I have not had any time to work on that, but I have had time to, I've put that time, I guess I should say, into designing. So I have quite a few things to share. So let's go ahead and talk about some of them. Alrighty, so the first design that I'm working on is one that I showed last week, and that is my dad's birthday socks. So, being perfectly honest, at the time I'm filming this, his birthday is Saturday the 15th, and today is Thursday the 13th, and I have the cast on done on the second sock. So, I'm gonna have to book it, but we have a very long drive ahead of us tomorrow, and I'm hoping that I can be able to knit during it and make a lot of progress. I will also be working on it throughout the day whenever I have time. Today, of course. So anyway, all in all, I'm really not that concerned about it, but yes, it is hysterical that once again I have saved it to the last minute. But this is a new design that I am working on in addition to his birthday socks, and I love it so much. Once again, this is a pattern that I have been itching to design and release for a while now, and I have just struggled to come up with like the perfect technique for it, but I think I've finally done it. It is super simple, and one thing that's really cool about this design too is that you can use self-striping yarn that is featured here, any self-striping yarn. It doesn't matter, you know, what width the stripes are or the length. That doesn't matter. Like, the pattern is going to be very easy to customize. But also, you could use like fingering weight scraps or a mini set and use this pattern, which I think is so cool. So I am already brainstorming ideas of things that I want to do with this pattern once this pair is complete and the pattern is released, of course. But yeah, I hope you guys love it because I'm really excited about this one. So here is the first sock. These look huge, like huge, but they aren't. My brother tried them on yesterday, and they're a little bit big for him, which means that they're going to fit my dad perfectly. So, anyway, it's crazy that, I don't know, I mean, I told my brother last night, I was like, I'll have such big feet, and really they don't, but they're a lot bigger than mine, apparently. Anyway, so, here's the first sock. Like I said, I really love the way that it turned out. So, it just has this little colorwork row at the end of every, or at the beginning, really, of every new color in the self-striping yarn. And I just love the way that it looks. I'm really excited about this pattern. So once again, I used Knit Picks Felici yarn. I believe this colorway is called Base Camp, I think. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And then I used the same contrast color, so I did Knit Pick Stroll in the colorway Ash. Again, I really like this gray. It's like a really nice kind of slate gray, so it works really well for a contrast color. It's also a dark color, which is another thing that I really like to have on those heavily worn areas. I wouldn't do a white usually for a contrast color. I've done it before without really thinking. But knowing what I know now, it's really good to have a dark color for those areas. But anyway, so here's the first sock. Like I said, I am still working on the second one. I literally have the cast on done. And I don't even know if it's the right amount of stitches. Like, I just started it last night, and then I realized how late it was. That's really what happened. But yeah, so here's my cast on. But I'm not worried about it. Like I said, I can work on it throughout the day, and it will get done. This is also a really mindless design, so it's been really nice to be able to knit on it while, you know, playing a game or reading or whatever. So that's been good too. It's good to not have to, you know, focus so hard mentally when I'm focusing so hard in school right now too. So I like having designs like that on the needles. Yeah, so that is the first design that I'm working on. I'm going to go ahead and put this sock back in this project bag so that I know how to make the second one identical to it. Alrighty, my next design is my second sample of the Efficient Pullover. So I have talked about this for quite a while now. The pattern is completely ready to go. I am super excited to hit that publish button. But for pattern sample purposes and for the pictures and the pattern, I wanted to make a second sample that was really good for any time of the year. So my first sample was my Christmas sweater this past year. And so it's a really pretty burgundy red color, and I love that color. But I wanted to have another version in the pattern as well, or just another picture for reference in the pattern and pattern pictures on Ravelry and the listings and all of that stuff. So I have finally started the second. I was waiting on this yarn for a while to come in the mail. But yeah, now I have started it. Like I said, this pattern is releasing so soon. And I am just really, really pumped about it. So here is my second sample so far. I am just working on the front panel right now. This is another just really mindless and enjoyable project, and I am just enjoying it, period. But yeah, so I am using We Crochet, I guess, because I'm crocheting with it. Knit Picks and We Crochet are sister companies. But this is their Polo line in the colorway Tea Rose. I adore this color. I love it so much. It is such a beautiful pink. And yeah, so Polo is really unique. It's a 100% cotton yarn, but it is unevenly spun. So you'll have some little bits that are bulky and some that are much thinner. And it just adds a really beautiful just interest to the project. And I'm really excited to see how it holds up. So obviously, as you can see, it is a very loose gauge. It'll be easier to see through depending on the yarn that you're using. For this one, because it is unevenly spun, it's more open than my first sample, which I used Brava Bulky for. And that is what is also included in the pattern, just by the way. And I'm whipping out my work as we speak. Oops. But, my point is I will definitely have to wear something under this, of course, because it is pretty see-through. But I think it's going to be awesome, and I'm really excited about it. So I already have, the jeans that I wear all the time are going to look so cute with this. I'm very excited about this project. So this is just the front panel so far. Obviously, I have quite a long ways to go, but I'm enjoying it so much, and I'm really excited to release that pattern because I know so many people are excited about it, which makes me really, really happy. So I am looking forward to releasing it later this month. It's coming so soon. I can't wait to share it with you guys. Okay, next design. Let's keep moving along. Alrighty, so for Dad's socks, I am creating that pattern, and I'm making a worsted weight version too. So I'm very excited about this because these are gonna be so cute. So I'm using Felici Worsted, which is the worsted weight line of the beloved Felici yarn, in this color, and I think it is absolutely gorgeous. I love this whole palette. It is called Palm Springs, so I just think it's so pretty. I love all of those colors together. And here's the finished leg. So these were cut so quick. I literally knit this in one evening. Like, it was super, super quick. And then I realized that I should probably be focusing on the socks that I actually have a deadline for. So I have put it on hold. But needless to say, these are so quick and fun. I think it's going to be really awesome to have a worsted weight and finger weight version of the same sock pattern. It's similar to what I did for the Success line, of course, because I have all of those vanilla socks in multiple weights. But I haven't really done that for, stitch pattern designs or something like that yet. So I'm excited to do that. Again, I really love these. They're so quick to knit, and I'm really excited to get back to them as soon as I finish Dad's pair. I'm also going to be making myself a pair of those socks for the pattern pictures. So this pattern won't be coming out until, I'm aiming for a February release. But yeah, these won't be coming out for a few weeks, but I'm really excited about them nonetheless. And I'm still doing a contrasting heel, toe, and cuff. I actually held stroll double for this, and it turned out perfect. So I'm really excited that I figured that out. I mean, it seems obvious just to double finger weight to make it a worsted weight, but yeah, it's an exciting little realization, of course. This, I don't know if I don't have the ball band for this gray, but maybe it's, I don't remember what it's called, charcoal heather maybe? It's definitely a heathered color, and it's very dark. I really like the contrast between this color palette and this really dark, kind of variegated gray a little bit. Yeah, I'm excited about it. So, anyways, these are going so well. Like I said, I did all of this in one evening, so these are going to fly off the needles as soon as I put some more time into them. And I'm pumped to see them grow and then to release that pattern. It's just really fun to work on. Okay, I have one more design that I wanted to mention, and it is something that I shared before, but it's been a while, and I kind of wanted to share my thoughts on it and where the design is headed. So I shared this tea project a few weeks ago. This is some yarn that I received for Christmas, and I'm going to be designing a crochet t-shirt pattern in it. I'm very excited about it. It's going great. But I'm going to be changing some things about this design and actually restarting it. So here's what it looks like right now. I'm using this really pretty ripple stitch, and it's beautiful. I mean, there's nothing like actually wrong with it, but there's a couple of things that I'm going to change regarding the pattern. I took gauge, but then my gauge changed a little bit just with the full width of this project, so I'm going to be redoing some math to figure that out to make it the actual measurements that I want, because it's just a little bit big right now. It's just a little bit bigger than I wanted it to be, and just for all of the other sizes, it's going to make it easier if this is the actual size I want it to be, of course. And then also, I modified this pattern to have a single crochet row for the second repeat. So there's a double crochet row and then a single crochet row, and that just repeats all the way up and down. I'm going to be experimenting with that a little bit. I'm not sure I want to keep it. It makes the project a little denser, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially for a garment, in my opinion. And for something like this, you know, you're going to be wearing this during the summer, so you don't want to have it, you don't want to have a bunch of layers under it. So, I don't know. I'm going to be doing some re-swatching, see if I can make it a little bit drapier and less dense. And so I might be taking that single crochet row out. I haven't decided yet, but this is a good example of, you know, sometimes you just got to rework something to get it how you want it to be. And so that's why I wanted to share it. So if you're struggling with a project, me too, and it's totally okay, and it always happens. But yeah, I'm going to be revisiting this, restarting it soon, but not yet. I'm going to finish those socks, get that pullover pattern released, do some other things, and then I will revisit this when we're a little bit closer to spring, and make it happen then. But I really love this palette still, so I'm definitely excited to make it into a garment. It just won't be exactly like this. So that's where I'm at with that design. Stay tuned, because it, of course, will be revisited. I'm not, you know, completely leaving it in the dust. I'm just going to put it on pause for now. But that is it for Design Talk this week and all of the knit and crochet content. Now, I do have a devotional that I've planned to share, so I hope that you choose to stick around for that. So one of the things that I actually shared in Instagram stories this past week is that my family and our church body are currently going through 21 days of prayer and fasting. And then for my family, we're also calling it a season of refocusing. So just kind of realigning our sight and our plans and dreams to what God wants us to do. And it's been a really beautiful journey. It's been hard for sure, because there's always challenges in a season like this, but I'm really excited for everything that he's going to show me through it. And one of the things that we're doing is going through the book of John, because there are 21 chapters in it. So pretty cool how that works out. And I wanted to talk about the first few verses, because the first, like, a big passage in John chapter 1 is one of my absolute favorites in the entire Bible. It is just so encouraging and full of such truth. And so I wanted to share that with you. So I'm just going to talk about a couple of verses, but I definitely encourage you to give the entire passage a read. I'm specifically talking about verses 1 through 18. But of course, you know, all of John and all of the Bible is so important and beautiful. But this passage in particular just really stood out to me during this read through. So one of my favorite verses is verse 3, and it says, "Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made." And that verse is so powerful, and it kind of takes you a couple times to read through it to just really understand what it means, because the way that John says it kind of isn't the clearest, because he's very thorough, but it's an absolutely beautiful verse, and it's basically saying that nothing has been made without him. And when you look at creation through the eyes of believing that, you appreciate it so much more, because you realize, you know, the trees that were created by him, and the plants and the flowers, and like the sunset is designed by him every single day. Like, there's just so much beauty, and I think it's really important to be able to recognize that and see it and not take it for granted. And then another verse that I really like is verse 7. And it says, he came as a witness to testify concerning that light, so that through him all might believe. And I really like that verse. And I think it's a very important one to keep in mind just as Christians as a whole. You know, we are called to share the light of Jesus. And Jesus is that light. So we're kind of a beacon. You know, we are shining his light, but he is the true light. And I think that's really important to remember, you know, that it's all about him and it's not about us. But it's also our job to show his light through our actions. One of the things that I continually tell myself just through this platform and holding myself, you know, on Instagram and YouTube and all of the social media places that I'm currently on, I, you know, want people to see Jesus' light through my actions. Like, it's not my job to, you know, place his name in somebody's face. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to show him through my actions and how I hold myself and how I respond to comments and DMs and, you know, anything and everything in between, and just the purpose behind everything that I do should be to glorify him. And I think when you really believe that, there's a greater purpose behind what you do. And of course it's not, you know, it's not always easy, because there's that filter that everything has to go through. Does this glorify him? And that's not an easy filter to have by any means. We've talked about that as a family this week too, but I think it just makes the journey that much more beautiful and that much more worth it to want to glorify him and show him to everyone. So like I said, I really love that passage of John. I encourage you to read through it if you would like. It's just really good, and it's a really good encouragement. So it's definitely one that I plan on revisiting and reminding myself about many, many times. But so far, the entire book of John has been good, of course. I think we're on I'm on 6 now, maybe. I'm going to have to count the days again, just like I do every single day, because I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure chapter 6 is today. But anyway, in terms of a life update, it has been a pretty crazy week. Like I mentioned, this week has been my first week back in school full-time and working, and then doing, you know, everything, the Graceful Tangle behind the scenes on top of all of that. So learning to manage it all efficiently and as, you know, thoroughly as I can. But it's been a really good week, and I'm really grateful for that. It's been a fairly smooth start to the spring semester. It is my last spring semester at college, which is crazy. I have a couple of classes to take this summer, and then I will be graduating in August, and I am really excited about that. So each class, each day is just getting me one step closer to graduation, and of course there is much bigger purpose than that, and I am learning so much, but sometimes that is definitely the driving factor, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm grateful to have had a smooth start to the semester, because, you know, there's quite a few things that can go wrong this early, and they're, like, everything's so confusing because you have so many different just elements of each class, and 5 classes is a big load to manage. But anyway, it's been a good semester, and I am been a good week over this semester, and I'm grateful for that. But anyway, I hope you're all having an amazing week. I hope that you continue to have one. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and be sure to subscribe and like this video if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on all things on this channel. I have some really exciting videos coming up, and I'm excited to take you all along the journey. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy making. Bye.